Can Davion Mitchell actually be as good as Donavan Mitchell? Let's get into this. Davion Mitchell started his college career at Auburn, where he struggled tremendously and didn't get much playing time. Davion Mitchell only averaged 3.7 points per game in his first season, but after that rough season with Auburn, Davion Mitchell decided to transfer to Baylor, and that was a really great decision for his career going forward. Early on, before Davion Mitchell got an offensive game, he was really a scorer night after night. But really what changed for Davion Mitchell was his work ethic and just willingness to work as hard as he can to get better year after year. In his first season with Baylor, Davion Mitchell got his points up to 10 points season, which was his last season at Baylor. Davion Mitchell averaged 14 points per game on a really efficient 51% from the field and 44% from deep. And in the March Madness tournament, he started to look like a star, and he was one of the biggest reasons why Baylor won the national championship. Davion Mitchell is a great example of a guy who didn't necessarily have the skills offensively, but just kept great defenders and not so great scorers, at least at the beginning, and they kept working harder and harder each offseason, and eventually they got to where they wanted to be offensively. Davion Mitchell really showed off what he could potentially be in the NBA, and hopefully better, especially in the tournament where he really stepped up his game offensively. Now the real question is, and the reason you guys clicked on this video is, could Davion Mitchell legitimately reach the same levels and heights that Donavan Mitchell reached, or is that too much of an overreach? Davion and Donavan are pretty similar in the sense that obviously they kind of look alike. They basically have the same round pick right now. It's really so crazy. Even the way they move is very similar, and I think Davion may have gotten a few moves from Donavan when looking at their games. Davion does a pullback between the leg 3-point jump shot, basically exactly the same move that Donavan does, and when he does it, he really looks like Donavan Mitchell out there. But comparing their games, it's very uncanny to see how good Davion got, especially from the 3-point line this season, and I'm not sure how sustainable it is because it's a ridiculous percentage. 50% from 3 is like mind-blowing. That's crazy. But if Davion could keep his 3-point percentage above, let's say 37%, he could be really lethal because he could use his handling ability to get open and hit open threes. For that standpoint, in terms of 3-point ability, I actually think Davion could potentially be better than Donavan in that position. And Davion also has really good handles and really good ability to get to the basket, as well as he's obviously also very athletic. It's really just so crazy how similar their games are. But Donavan is obviously one of the better younger players we have in our league, and he's definitely going to be a superstar in this league for years to come. So it's kind of tough to compare Davion to that, especially the fact that he's not even going to be a top 5 pick and he's not even in the NBA yet. But I will say this about Davion: I really like his game, and I think he could potentially be a better shooter than Donavan, as well as he has great handling and ability to get to the basket. I think he has all the tools he possibly could need to become a superstar in this league. And as I said before, obviously Davion has the work ethic to get that done. He's worked hard every offseason, and especially on his offensive game, because he's already very talented defensively. So I really have pretty good confidence that he could be a really good player in the NBA for years to come. Now the big question would be, what team would Davion get selected to? But the fact that he's projected to be a mid-round pick and he's most likely going to go around there, maybe in the 10 range, I think is better for him, because he would most likely go to a team that has a better situation for him and that could help him out tremendously in his NBA career. There have been plenty of really good NBA players that never panned out to what they really should have been, just due to the situation they were in. I recently did a video on Aaron Gordon, and he's kind of the perfect example. He was drafted 4th overall. I was supposed to be a really good player in this league, but since he was drafted to the Orlando Magic, who didn't really have a great culture and great players around him, he didn't really turn out as well. And now look at him on the Denver Nuggets. He's playing the best basketball of his career because the Denver Nuggets have such a good culture and organization and players around him, obviously, that matter most. But if Davion could go to a team like the Oklahoma City Thunder, who currently have a mid-round pick, next to Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, that could be really lethal for years to come. Those two guys could be really good. Obviously, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander is already becoming a star in the making, and if Davion lives up to what I think he could potentially be, that could be a really lethal duo going for the better offensive player between the two, and Fred VanVleet can get the easier matchup. I definitely really like Davion's game, and I think he has a ton of potential in this league for years to become. And I know he has great work ethic, which is half of the battle, especially when you're also talented on top of that. When Kawhi was on the San Antonio Spurs, he came back every season with a new ability offensively, and it was becoming sort of a meme, but it was crazy how much he improved offensively, and I could easily see something similar for Davion, although I think Davion is way farther ahead than Kawhi was offensively at this point. But overall, I think it's very hard to compare Davion Mitchell, who's not even in the league and not even a top 5 pick, and to compare him to an absolute superstar in Donavan Mitchell. But I do think, to his credit, I do think that Davion Mitchell has a work ethic and ability to potentially be on that level eventually. And I think the biggest thing at this point to look for to see if he could potentially get to that level would really be to see what situation and what team he gets drafted to, because obviously that's a huge factor. But if Davion does get close to Donovan's skill level or even above, I wouldn't be surprised, I will say that though. But let me know what you guys think in the comments. Do you think Davion Mitchell could potentially be as good or better than Donavan Mitchell? Or do you think there's too much hype around Davion Mitchell and he's not as good as Donavan is? But anyways guys, I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and if you did enjoy, please leave a like and subscribe. It really helps me out a lot. Until the next time, peace out guys.